Welcome to 5-minute JavaScript tutorials, where every tutorial is 5 minutes or less. Today we'll be going over how to create variables in JavaScript. Most people who dabble in object-oriented programming knows that variables are the cornerstone of all code, and this is the same for JavaScript. A variable is like a box that holds data. We'll be going over the 3 types of ways to create a variable in JavaScript. The first is a var. We will write out var and then spell the name for our variable, so we'll call this one a box. A var is the standard way to create variables and has no special quirks. We'll have this var equal 5, and from now on, the box variable will be equal to 5. If we wanted to change the variable later on in the code, we could simply just write box is equal to 7 to say if we want to change it to 7. Notice how we don't have to rewrite the word var, since var is only needed if you wanted to create the variable. If you wanted to change the value of the variable, you could just write the name of the variable and then equal sign next to it. Next up, we have the let variable. Now, the variable is the same as var in how it can hold any data. The one difference is that let variables change differently depending on the scope. The concept can be confusing for beginners, so don't worry about not getting it at first. For example, we could have the var container equal to 5. If we were to write a function, let's say add, and we define container in here as 3, the container variable inside the function would be equal to 3, but the container outside the function would be still equal to 5. And that's because the container, well, not the container, the let variable will only be equal to its local scope. So the scope for this let container is inside these brackets. So it will be equal to 3 always inside here, but outside of the brackets it will always be equal to 5, since this scope is not in between these brackets. Next up, lastly, we have constants. Constants are very simple in how the value will never be changed once declared. So we'll call this constant, we'll call it a constant box again, and we'll assign it to 8. Once a constant is assigned, the value will never change. This is often used in coding to assign values to variables that you never want to change. So we'll never be able to accidentally change box's value, since box is now a constant, which means that it can never change, and thus you don't have to worry about accidentally changing the value. That's all for today's episode, and I hope to see you in the next one.